Hey, I wanted to show you something real quick. When you're using Kucoin on the trading, regardless of where my cursor is, USDT or Bitcoin, the same idea applies. But for coins that do trade USDT, I would probably suggest using USDT to do this. But I wanted to show you something. So these areas right here where it says MA, MA10, MA21, those are moving averages. So this first button is you hide it. So if I click it, it'll reappear. If I click it again, it'll disappear. So what you probably want to use is something like the 10, the 21, and maybe the 50. So I would need to change this one so it's at 5 right now. 5 is almost pointless to use. So I would change this to 50. Source. Ooh. Yeah, using close is fine. So the 50, you know, a lot of times people put blue for 50, a lot of traders, and you can thicken the line by dragging this. It's kind of easier to see. So I thicken mine up all the way. The 50's down lower. The 10, a lot of traders use it as red, and they keep it a little thinner than everything else typically. The ones I see on YouTube, the really good traders. And these are simple moving averages. That's why it says MA. You can also go to, actually, we'll just deal with MAs right now. But there are other indicators that you can select here that are EMA, and those are probably a little preferred, but both are good to use. So you might want to use the 10, the 21, and 55. So 10 being red is not a bad idea. Most traders use the 21 as yellow, and that often is the thickest line because it's pretty much the most important. The 21 and the 200 are really, really important. Unless you're dealing with the weekly, then they're all important. The weekly candle. So that's that. Now, look at these things up here, minutes. So when you want to figure out, okay, is something actually dropping or not? Like, did we fail, right? So when Bitcoin's going on a run, a lot of times it does stay above its red on the 15 candle. So each of these is 15 minutes. And the lower number you go, the more finicky it is, the more fickle it is. So something like the weekly is the real, like it's the king of them all. However, it's harder to trade off that. So these make a difference. But when you're looking at things, kind of trying to make fast decisions, you know, somewhere between the 5, the 30, 1, and 2 hour are pretty good indicators. Long-term stuff, like 4 hours, is good to do stuff on the weekly basis for weekly decisions. Daily is good for like monthly decisions, and weekly is good for, you know, yearly macro choices, whether you want to long something and hold it for the rest of the year, for example. But anyway, so a 4 hour typically, I like to use that for daily or for weekly type of signals. But anyway, so 1 and 2 hour are good for the day, so you can tell, was our day a good day? And so look at what it did here. On the 1 hour, for faster price movements for the day, look, it respected that 21 and it's bouncing off. And right now it's getting stuck below the 10 simple. So a lot of times when you can figure out if something's going to keep falling or keep going, it's good to test a line, either the 10 or the 21. If you do something like a 5x, then it'll test down lower, like the 200 or the 50 or the 89, which aren't here. But in short runs where you think you have a lot to go, testing the 21's good. It would have been better if we didn't drop, this candle didn't happen, so some butthole probably saw my post and said, oh, I'm going to dump on these idiots. That's probably what happened there. But it would have been nice if we pinged off that, kept going. But the 21 is not a bad, like for the hour candle here, that's pretty good. So we are looking on a scale of 1 to 10, we're sitting at like a 6.5. This isn't badass. It would have been badass had this candle pinged off, like right here, this red one, and then this happened at here. That would have been great. But for Japan just now waking up, this looks really good on the 1 hour chart. And the 15-minute chart is probably too low to go. So looking at the 1 hour here, this looks really good. And so Japan waking up, they're going to see this doji, this type of candle here is called a doji. They're going to see that, and they're going to, so what doji means is the buyers and sellers had a war for that whole hour, and nothing was decided. And now that we're going up, it means the buyers are winning. The sellers gave out, and the buyers are now winning. However, if we get stuck here and this yellow line keeps going up as this red keeps going here, if we get pancaked between them, then fall, then we're probably going to test this line, or we'll probably retest whatever former high. So we would probably ping off this right here, this horizontal. So we would probably go as low as 0.0025. And that is actually an okay retest. That is perfectly fine for going straight to the moon. So if this gets sandwiched and comes down, you don't want it to go below there, and it probably won't. But anyway, so what's probably going to happen is we're probably going to get sandwiched between these two lines, and then it's going to go up because Japan sees this. They are going to say the Japanese don't use lines as much. These moving averages, they use candles. So waking up, they're going to say they're going to see us or see BEPRO or whatever it's called, BET protocol on the gainers list, and it's going to get attention. They're going to say this is a good buy. It just made a new all-time high. Japanese and Americans all buy all-time highs. It's like the best buy you can make. So, for example, when Bitcoin passed 20,000, what happened? We 2.25x'd from there, right? So buying new highs is awesome. So we have a lot of good stuff going right here, and it would probably be wise, to maybe try to make a little liquidity up here, put in really small orders. So if you spent, like, let's say $100, use 10 of those dollars to put in really small orders stratified between here all the way up to a penny, so that when people are buying, they don't look at these red numbers here and see huge gaps. But what is good, though, is that it's not many coins selling. They just don't want to see the price gaps, and they will be more comfortable buying. So if you can, what down here where these buttons are, the red and green means kind of equal of both. So you see both, and you can only scroll up so far. But if you want to scroll up all the way on the red, you just click this one right here where my cursor is, and you can scroll up, and you'll start seeing my liquidity sells, which is about 175,000 BEPRO out of my million and change. Let me see here. Look for so that's the first one. So my first one to make liquidity is at 0.005, and I'm trying to make liquidity. I mean, look, you'll start as I scroll up. You'll see more and more 2. So look, somebody also did the same thing with 17.8. I would guess that might be Alex, but anyway, but it's somebody like me with that same thought process. They want it to go up too, and honestly, that might be the moderator. So whoever did this 17 number is on our side. That person is not selling. They want it to go up. So that's what that means. So when you see numbers like that, and that means they're not selling everything. They're just selling enough so that it can go up. And that's creating liquidity, but it's kind of thin liquidity. So it's not like a brick wall, but it's liquidity, and people will be more comfortable hitting market buy. So it just eats it all up at once, which is how price goes up. Price only goes up when you hit market buy, really. That's the only way it goes up. So yeah, I mean, we're looking good. And as Japan's waking up, I think, I don't know, I bet this could go sideways for a day or two. So 6 of these candles, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to about here, or it could go 2 days to about here. Actually, it has the date at the bottom, doesn't it? Stupid me. So 25th, that's more than 2 days. But anyway, if we go sideways to about here, that's good. And really, the longer we go sideways, the harder it's going to go up. I mean, it's just like Bitcoin did with a $10,000 base. We went way above it, way below it, so we went up to 14, we went down to 5, and then it leveled off at 10. That's kind of what we're doing here. This is Bitcoin's version of 14,000, 5,000, and now we're kind of settling out here. This is a 4-hour chart. But for kind of making quicker judgments, the 1-hour chart is really powerful. Even though I kind of like the 30, but the higher value you get, the more king-like it is, the more it really means something. So if you went to Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin is probably testing somewhere below the weekly 10. So just to show you how powerful the weekly is. So if you go to BTC USD am I spelling something wrong? BTC. Don't tell me they don't trade Bitcoin to TUSD. Let's see here. Right here. And don't use leverage, people. If you're not used to trading, don't leverage Bitcoin. You will get wiped out, and you'll probably go on a quick winning streak first, but you're going to get wiped out. So anyway, the 10. So the weekly here, it's probably below. Oh, it went back to the 5. So it redid my stuff. Darn it. So I got to change this back to red for the 10. Make it a little thicker. So it's probably just below the 10 if I had to guess. No. So yeah, Bitcoin's looking sexy right now. It hasn't even touched the weekly 10. So if it came down here and pegged 37, that is a strong move still. Like, that is not bad to go from, even though it looks bad, to go from 57 down to 38. I think it's gonna hit either here or here. Like, my guess is I'm gonna try to long Bitcoin if it goes here, but it absolutely could hit the 21 moving average EMA, even though these are MAs, but it's going to be kind of close. So, well, it probably won't come down to that. It probably won't go that low. But if Bitcoin ever goes down to this 21 line on the weekly, you want to buy that. You want to buy that and probably long it on leverage. Not a ton of leverage, because it could go dip a little bit below first, and you'll get demolished. But you probably want to long that bull markets. But anyway, so this is a really strong move from Bitcoin. Even though somebody who doesn't know a lot about trading would say, "Wait, it's dropped 58. It's dropped $12,000." No. U.S. dollar value doesn't matter. Look at these moving averages. This is a strong, strong move. And if you go to the daily, probably around the 21 or so, the yellow line, if I had to guess, maybe above. So it's probably going to hit this 21, bounce up, and get sandwiched between this, kind of like what BEPRO is doing. It's probably going to get sandwiched between these before buyers and sellers figure out, okay, are we going to go tag that weekly number? Are we going to go tag the weekly 21, which is much lower? So this is the daily. Are we going to go down lower to 20? So the weekly will be creeping up by then. It might be at like 33. Are we going to hit it this time, or are we going to do one more run and go sideways a little bit and let this catch up so we can touch it then? But price will touch this line. Like, it is super important. In bull markets, you want to buy that pretty much every time. So anyway, just kind of compare Bitcoin and BEPRO, what we're doing here. So Bitcoin's move is actually stronger than what BEPRO has right now. So that's why I was if I could give Bitcoin a rating right now, its move, I would give this a 9. This is like maybe a 9.8. This is very good. It's above the 5 simple. I mean, even though I think it's gonna hit the 10 at least on the weekly, but that's still like an 8.5 move. That's awesome. So just when you see price movements, and it looks like a big dollar figure, that doesn't matter. What matters is these moving averages. And so right now we're looking pretty darn good. And Japanese, they use more candles than anything. Look at this big green dildo up your butt. Look at that. Look at that big sexy green dildo on the weekly. Let's look at it on the daily. Oh yeah. Oh yes. This is really good, guys. So the 24 hours started over. So, and we got another green candle going. This is good. So this is way better than any other candle. So, and the daily is a very strong candle. So this tells a really good story to the Japanese. If they see another good green day after one of these days, and it starts green and keeps going green, this is going up, people. This is going to go up. This is not going to come back down. So not yet. This is going to pass this high, and it's going to keep going. I would give that an 80% likelihood. And again, it might take 3 or 4 days to do it, but and it might have go up to here for green, come down red, another red day up down to here, and then it's going to go up. But this is very, very good. So anyway, just to let you know what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing right now, I would give this better than a 6.5 on the daily. This looks like that's a pretty long wick. It's not an over an 8. I would give this a 7.5 here. This is a good move. So anyway, you're looking pretty. If you bought up here, which I spent $1,000 up here, people, right when it hit 8.5 million cap. So, and I'm down on that money, but I was also buying down here, so averaged in, I'm still up like double. But if you bought up here, perhaps like Wes or somebody, one of you did, including me. But if that was all where you started, it's okay. You're looking pretty. Even if it comes all the way down here, your money goes to half. Doesn't matter. This is a strong move, a good move if it comes down. It pegs this, goes back up. We're looking pretty good.